Hello, hello, and welcome yet to another episode on the Stretch Street podcast. This is the energetic EJ, and I am excited to be here one more time. I think my excitement would never go away as long as I keep hosting this podcast, all right? Because every time I turn on the mic and maybe the camera sometimes, it's like, okay, yes, let's do this. Let's bring another story to life. Let's inspire more people. Let's tell them or remind them that challenges are not exclusive to any of us. We all go through them. But most times when we assume the posture of saying, what is this here to teach me? Why did this happen to me? Not in the standpoint of victimization, like why me? Why not you? But when you take that posture to say, why did this happen to me? What is this here to teach me? Then you're able to distill the lessons that these seemingly challenging situations are there to teach us. And with you sharing those lessons, you become valuable, you add value to the society, you add value to yourself. And I just feel like it makes the world, even though a tiny percent, it makes the world a better place. And that's one of the reasons I'm always excited when I turn on the mic to say, yes, welcome to another episode on the Stretch Street podcast. Now, today on the show, of course, you know how I'm going to say it. Like, yes, I have a special guest because all my guests are special. Yes, today I have someone with a compelling story, and I am all here to hear all the story and to hear the lessons that she has garnered from her experience. Today I have an award-winning entrepreneur, a visionary behind the it's called CurlyCoilyTresses. Okay. That's a tongue twister right there. She's the visionary behind CurlyCoilyTresses, and she is a renowned curl restoration coach. I mean, there are so many struggles that people go through, and there are coaches who are dedicated to helping people navigate the same struggles. All right, because this is the first time I am meeting a curl restoration coach, and I'm super excited to just listen into her story and share what she has for us. Now, her journey is one of resilience, innovation, and transformation, from overcoming personal challenges like chemical burns and alopecia to building a brand that's been celebrated by O Magazine and Black Enterprise. Angela has turned adversity into empowerment for countless women. So in this episode, we're going to explore the highs, the lows of her entrepreneurial path, of her life lessons, of her story with what she's been through, the hair loss and everything. And we're going to gain insight on how she's helping women embrace their natural beauty and thrive in every stage of life. So do not go anywhere. Grab your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, or your bottle of water if that is what works for you, as we get to meet my beautiful guest, Angela Fields. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with my guest.
No matter how dark the night is, the sun always rises. No matter how hard life gets, keep moving forward. You never know what amazing things are waiting just around the corner. No story is too rough, and no journey is too tough. Join us on Stretch Street to be inspired by the stories of people who have been through it all and come out stronger. Stretch Street Podcast. Stretching without snapping.
All right. Welcome to the show, Angela. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking.
Awesome. Before we dive right into the conversation of the day, tell me one fun thing about you, something people don't really know, but it's fun to know.
I can be the person of those one-liners. In the midst of a conversation about something over here, come in with a one-liner that kind of lightens the mood, if you will, or has somebody laughing about what's going on.
I love that. Oh, so it's almost like you're a joy giver. Well done.
Yes.
Awesome. It's great to have you here, and thank you for reaching out to want to share your story on how you're helping women and how the journey has been so far. So I'm just going to start by saying your journey into the natural hair care industry, it began with a personal pain, right? Can you just take us back to that moment when you suffered this chemical burn from a relaxer? How did this
Yeah.
experience shape your perspective on beauty and self care?
Yes, the relaxer happened. It spilled on my face. It wasn't completely addressed through the neutralizing shampoo. Had to go to chemical burn treatment using Silvadene cream on the face and then keeping it bandaged. So you have to avoid the sun, strong, even light bulbs.
Wow.
So it can also cause a reaction. So you avoid the sun because the Silvadene will turn black if it's exposed to sunlight. So you put the cream on, you bandage everything, you stay out of the sun, you avoid any bright lights that may be in your home, and you kind of just go from there. And kind of what that lesson taught me is I was comfortable with relaxers because I had been using them for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think if you can just go to the store and buy something and put it on your hair, then, it's just not that big of a deal.
Right.
So I hadn't looked at that ingredients label to understand what was in that jar. What was in that jar? I just knew what's in this jar is what keeps my hair straight over the long term.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So that's how it made me start looking at ingredients, learning more about ingredients. What is this ingredient? Why is it in this product?
Mm.
And this is even after having lost my hair twice as a child. So
Oh
once
wow.
very young, when that first relaxer went on and the hair promptly came out, and then years later trying it again, trying that chemical relaxer again. And then this time it was a cosmetologist. The first time it was a kitchen beautician.
Mm.
Second time it was a cosmetologist. That spurred my lifelong lesson to learn all I needed to know about hair and hair care, to understand what ingredients I needed, which I did, which of those that I didn't need.
Mm.
So it became just this lifelong journey. And we didn't have the internet back then. So it
Right.
was reading books, it was reading journals and magazines, it was in the library. But I wanted to learn everything that I needed to know to take care of my hair, so if I was in the salon and those things were not being followed, I could say, well, we need to pause here because we haven't done, this, and this, and we need
Right.
to do those things.
Right.
And so you bring forward this lifelong learning. Now you've got this traumatic experience, and then the realization sets in that this is a dangerous product. It is
Right.
a dangerous product and not just some run of the mill shampoo that we use. But yes, it
Right.
was years after using.
Right. When how old were you when this happened?
I was in elementary school the first time, so that was like in the range of 10 to 11. And then when I tried relaxers again, it was later in high school. It was in junior high and then high school range. So that was like the ninth, 10th grade when I tried relaxers again and lost my hair. Um,
Hmm.
and then coming back out temporarily and going back to the pressing comb. And then years later in college, trying again. And
Oh
in
wow.
between, they're having a Jerry curl or two.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
did you, in your experience, while these things were happening, while you were having those reactions when you were trying, did you see other girls around you having the same experience, or was this almost peculiar to you in your vicinity?
I saw girls, even women, losing their hair to relaxers. So, yes, that seemed to be a fairly common thing. But you just think, well, they're probably not taking proper care of their hair.
Hmm.
It happened to me, and it was like, wow, I can't just say that anymore because now I know better. If I
Right.
didn't know before, I definitely know better now.
Now, I can imagine. So now that this experience helped you or pushed you or motivated you to start looking at the different components of what makes this product and everything, what did you find out in your findings, in your researches, that shocked you the most about this product? That sort of, if you would say, made you like solidify your or intensify your desire to say, you know what, I have to do something about this.
These are very caustic chemicals and very strong preservatives. And so often the preservative that's used in an ingredient in a product like this is formaldehyde. We use formaldehyde to preserve bodies for funerals. I mean, it's one
Ooh.
of the strongest preservatives out there, and it goes by several different names. So you won't just necessarily see formaldehyde on the label. It has many names, up to 20 names that it can be used to reference, but it's all the same thing. And it was just like, wait a minute. I've been using this on my hair for years and it has formaldehyde in it. But as you start studying further, relaxers have a very high pH to lift the cuticle because to make a permanent change to your hair, you must lift the cuticle and get the product inside. So that
Hmm.
could be hair dye or it could be a relaxer. But either way, you've got to lift the cuticle to get the product inside. And to do that, you need something with a high pH. Well, when you think about drain cleaner is going down using its strong acids to deteriorate whatever is clogging the sink and to move it on through. Relaxers have a very similar pH.
Oh, wow.
So just stop and pause there a moment. We're using it on our
On your
hair, on our
hair.
scalp, and it is very similar in pH to drain cleaner.
Wow.
So that should give all of us a pause. Wait a minute, let me sit back here a minute. But yes, so that was
Wow.
one of the first things I learned about the formulas.
Hmm. And then that led you into, starting a business. So, what was the first thing that you tackled when you said, you know what, with this knowledge that I have, I'm not just going to sit around, I'm not just going to try to fix the problem for myself, but I'm going to extend it. What was the first thing you tackled, and how did that segue into, you becoming an entrepreneur?
Yes. So I had been experiencing an increase in the number of allergies, went through allergy and patch testing, found out fragrances was a huge issue for me. 96 to 98% of US hair care is fragranced. So those are all products that I just write off, can't even use. No need of even looking at the ingredients. I can't use them because they contain fragrance. So I tried tapping into the others that I could find in the US. Was not happy with the performance on my hair, started shopping in Canada and Europe. I found better options. I found much better options because they're much further along the path of we need to roll back the level of chemicals that we're using, and protecting our consumers more so. Wasn't completely happy. So that's when I started using what I had previously learned in just buying raw ingredients and making formulas in my own kitchen. And so
Hmm.
I make something up. If I didn't like the results, I document what I did like, what I didn't like, formulate a different way, maybe add some new raw ingredients that I purchased. And then I hit upon a formula that worked very well. So it gave me the moisture, the definition, the ability to be able to detangle because my curl size is about the size of a diameter of a pen or a spring in a pen. And the tighter your curl, the more slip, the more gentle you need to be when you're detangling. And so I
Hmm.
hit upon a product that worked very well and was just making it for myself in my kitchen for about a year. And I
Wow.
had relatives and friends saying, "You need to sell this to other people." And I'm like, "Well, I got a job. I have been in corporate America for 26 years. I got a job.
Whoa.
Don't need a side job."
Also.
And then, yes. And then I was laid off. And I was sitting back and I wasn't
Oh,
rushing.
wow. You waited.
I waited. So I wasn't rushing into it. I was just thinking, what do I want to try next? I've always thought about this, or this. Do I want to do that now? And then one day it hit me. What I was going to do was already in my
Right
kitchen,
in front of you.
right in front of me. That's how
Wow.
CurlyCoilyTresses came to market. All of these unrelated things was taking place,
And
and I
just,
did not have a vision for launching a hair care brand. 5 years before, 10 years before. Never even thought about it.
wow.
Never even thought about it.
Wow. Look
And
at
then
that.
now,
Look at that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. So, starting a business, talking about that, often comes with unexpected challenges, right? Because again, it's different when you're doing this thing for yourself, you're taking care of your hair, and that's okay. But when you have to shift and expand and scale into making it a business, creating the same product for other people, because I feel
mhm,
like you said, initially when you looked at this product, um they were harmful, but they still did not affect everybody the same way. So
Mhm.
looking at that, you already have an idea like, okay, this thing that works for me, I don't know yet if it's going to work for other people the same way. So starting a business comes with those kind of unexpected challenges. What were some of the most significant obstacles that you faced while launching Curly Coils Dresses, and how did you navigate or overcome them?
Well, one of those was the belief that if you build it, they will come. And it was like, wait a minute, they're not just going to come. I have to reach out and identify those customers. I need to connect with them, be it social media, be it at events,
Hmm.
be it through newsletters that I'm writing. You have to connect with those customers and bring them to your brand, because just because you built it does not mean they will come. uh,
Right.
Working very hard, now learning about social media and how to use it differently. So I had been on social, but it was for entertainment. It was
Right.
for connecting with relatives, being able to see pictures of the kids that I hadn't seen in a while, all
Hmm.
those types of things. That's what social media had been for me. It had not been a source of revenue or a source of reaching a target population. It
Hmm.
had not been. So that's one of the unexpected things of learning. Well, when you launch this brand, these are the things you need to do. And so that
Right.
was like a wow moment. And also, funding is a huge challenge because
Right.
there are so many different things that can be incredibly expensive. And so, as a small brand owner, I had to basically do the things that I could do based on budgeting. So, it's
Right.
not going to do everything. Okay, it's not going to do this, this, and this, but I can do this over here. So it's
Right.
making decisions. So an example of that is I have a background in doing some website design and in doing course training, delivering training. So I had background in those things. So I was making use of those things and designing my own website.
I
And
love
I
it.
started out manufacturing the products right in my apartment. But
Wow.
when I got to a certain point, I had hired a team of individuals to manufacture my products. I was also doing my own fulfillment, taking them to the post office. And then I hired a team of individuals to handle the storage and the fulfillment of my orders. So it's making decisions at the best time based on what you believe that you can afford, what your business forecasts are going to be, and how you're thinking you can better serve your customers. Because
Right.
I thought, being the face of the brand, I'm going to need to spend more time in social. Okay, so if I need to find somebody else to manufacture and then fulfill, if my time is going to be spent in this particular area. So, yes,
Hmm.
making many different decisions such as that.
Right.
But
Right.
what you
Right.
need to be doing to market your brand, and then what you can do, what you can afford, those are two key ones right off the
And what you
bat.
can delegate as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. So now you talked about even in your bio, that I read earlier on, you talked about, having to battle with alopecia.
Yes.
I'm curious to know how did you navigate that?
Okay.
Because yeah, I can see a very beautiful curly hair on your hair. But just walk us through for people who, I guess it's in phases or in or levels or something like that, right? Where some people eventually lose their hair completely. But
Yes.
what was it like for you? And while you were going through that, what was the toughest thing that you had to face in that season? And how did you navigate it?
Absolutely. So alopecia comes in two key ways.
Okay.
There is the alopecia where you have scarring, and then there is alopecia where you do not have scarring. And something else about alopecia, there are several different kinds. There are several different kinds of alopecia, and it could be everything from having thinning areas up to entire patches or losing all of your hair. So alopecia comes in a few different ways. And so knowing what you're being impacted by affects the path going forward. So what had happened to me, I'm just doing my thing. I was filming some content one day, and I had some things on the floor in front of me that I needed to pick up to handle and put in front of the camera. And so after the fact, I'm editing the video. And then I realized as I leaned over, there was about a golf ball size of area right in my crown where I could see through the hair and see my scalp. And I've had fairly dense hair for most of my life. And now I'm seeing through and seeing my scalp, and it's like, okay, this is a problem. That's not normal. And I saw the dermatologist, and I'm telling her, I think I got a problem. I've got some hair thinning, and she's looking at me and said, "Angela, you've got a lot of hair. What are you talking about?" And then she got up to start examining my scalp, and then when she stopped talking, I
Something
knew
she
she had
saw
found that
something.
spot. And she said, "This is CCCA, which is a type of alopecia very common to Black women. It happens more so to Black women than any other. And it's a scarring type of alopecia." So you hear that word alopecia, ugh, and then you hear the word scarring. It's like you know that that makes it a bit more complicated. Because I had a good level of understanding about the various different types of alopecia,
Hmm.
and now I'm hearing it because I'm going through it. And so it hits you hard. It's like, wait a minute, I have a hair care brand. I can't deal with alopecia. I have a hair care brand. And this was in late 2022. And so we devised our plan, and there are two key things that determine whether or not you can regrow your hair. So,
Okay.
rather you've got thinning here, you've got thinning in the crown, or you have patches, there are two key things that determine if you can regrow hair. The
Hmm.
first is if your follicles are healthy and capable of growing hair, and follicles are beneath your scalp and they're a part of the root system of your hair. So that's the first thing. Are they healthy and capable of growing hair? The second thing is scar tissue preventing the hair from coming through your scalp so you can see it. And so when you have a type of scarring alopecia, one of the first levels of treatment is that you inject lidocaine, which is a type of painkiller, as well as a steroid. So you're giving kind of mitigating the pain with it, but injecting the steroid in, and because the intent is to break up the scar tissue. So you do several points along the scalp where the scar tissue is, where the thinning is, and where the scar tissue is, because you're trying to break up that scar tissue. And you do this once a month for about 6 months. Then you wait 3 months to see, okay, what happened. You come back in, and then they check your scalp to see if they can see new growth coming through. And they could. So thrilled. Okay, thrilled. So my follicles are healthy. They're capable of regrowing hair. We got to be mindful of the scar tissue. So let's keep this going. And then also, I started taking Nutrafol. That was one of the first things the dermatologist said. I want you on Nutrafol. This is the one for balanced. It's for women that are 45 plus.
Okay.
And so, based on the mix of vitamins and minerals, it also has some Ayurvedic type ingredients in it.
Hmm.
You take 4 of these capsules a day, each day, and you need to maintain this. This is not something you can do temporarily. You
Right.
need to maintain this. And I use this as my vitamin supplement now. There are a
Right.
few things that I add with it, but this is my core of my nutrients that I'm taking in addition to my to food that I eat. So that's kind of how
Hmm.
it's looked at between the vitamins A, B, C, D that are in it. That's just a part of what I do every day for my supplementation.
Right.
So it hit. And then I did start talking about it in my group, on social media. It's like, you are not alone. Have you heard that
Hmm.
CCA diagnosis or any type of alopecia diagnosis? But the bottom line is, it scarring or non scarring? And then, okay, if it's scarring, then we need to address that. And then we need to find out if your follicles are healthy
Are
and capable
healthy.
of producing hair. And you can only find that out by taking a wait and see approach. Let's see if hair
Right.
comes through, then we know. So, no one should feel that I have this hair loss or I have the alopecia diagnosis, and that's just
That's
it.
it. There are ways to go about it. And so it's
Yes.
about, looking for the right community, connecting
Mhm.
and asking questions so that you know what works for you and all of that. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Your
Absolutely.
product have been featured in major publications like O Magazine and Black Enterprise. What does
Mhm.
this recognition mean for you? When you were starting this business, did you think that this would happen? And how has that influenced your mission and goal forward?
I was not even thinking that. It wasn't something that I had in the plan, reaching out to social media. But I had an opportunity to have my brand, my product shipped to to where Oprah or O Magazine was being produced at that time with the beauty director. Wow. And when I found out that it had been listed in the top 19 products for 4C type hair, I mean, I
Wow.
was screaming in my apartment, running down the halls. It's a wonder. It's a wonder that someone didn't call the police. I think somebody's being attacked next door. But it was like, oh my God.
Oh, I can imagine.
That was huge. That was huge. And then, and when it happened with Black Enterprise, it's like I'm sitting here looking at it, and I know how many times along the way I've been reading articles in Black Enterprise, reading about other people and other brands and other things in Black Enterprise. And now my products are in Black Enterprise. So it was a pinch me moment like, is this really happening? Or is this kind of like a dream or a fantasy? Yeah.
What did that do for you in terms of, your vision? What did he birth? Did he change anything in the way that you see the business now?
It did, because now you're seeing your plan come together. You're seeing some things happening, meaningful things happening, and that alone opens a few more doors for you. That alone is going to bring customers in. And even though this was published a few years ago, I
Hmm.
can still see in my Google Analytics that I still have traffic coming from O Magazine. What is really
Wow.
now is Oprah Daily. Now I
Wow.
can still see traffic coming from Oprah Daily to my website.
Wow, amazing, amazing, and that kind of makes all the work and all the sacrifices and all the pain worth it. I love it. I love it.
You can't see something taking place. It's more ethereal than just this physical transaction. And that's one of those that you just sit back and say, I did this.
I did
Yeah.
it. You did it. Yeah, so as someone who is passionate about mentoring and educating others, especially women over 50, which I love because as a coach, my goal is to work with women 40 and above. So when I saw over 50, I'm like, yay, I'm not alone. Right? So, what are some of the key life lessons you hope to pass on to the next generation of entrepreneurs and women navigating similar challenges or any type of challenge at all?
You know, it's from the perspective of you need people in your circle that are maybe behind you on the path. They haven't gotten to where you are, so they're behind you on the path, because those are individuals that you can share wisdom with, and you can see them growing and evolving, and you had a part in that. But you
Right.
also need people that are ahead of you on the path,
Mm,
because they're sharing that wisdom that they've already learned. It's like, okay, I did this, and this, and that was a waste of time. So what you should do is this, and this, and
right.
that's going to be a much better outcome for you. And
Right.
so you need that balance. You also need coaches and mentors, people that they may not be completely in depth in your specialty, in your niche, but
Mm,
they can certainly share with you business wisdom that they've learned along the way,
right.
better options to try. Maybe you should consider this type thing. So,
Right.
yes. So
Right. I
it's
love
like
it.
this full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, exactly. Yes. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, if you're listening, please remember you need people ahead, you need people
Mhm.
behind, and just keep the circle going. And that's how we share knowledge and just share the impact and let it go around. Looking ahead, what are your future goals for Curly Coil Tresses and your work as a curl restoration coach? I want to get a little bit of insight into how you do that, like the coaching part of it. So yeah, tell me a little bit about that and what should we expect from you and your brand going forward?
Okay. So I'll share with you two key things. So, as a curl restoration coach, that is in my Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group
Oh,
that
okay.
many of my customers are encouraged to join, but there are many people who are not customers that are in the group as well. And
Right.
so it is sharing knowledge about hair care,
Hmm.
about ingredients, about products, about processes, how to get the best results from that style you're hoping to achieve. And so many women come to me after well, I did this, this, and this, and now my hair is damaged and tangled, and what do I do next? So it's
Mm,
restoring that curl, it's restoring their faith, it's bringing that smile back to their
right.
face. Like, I didn't think my hair could do this.
Mm,
And then you're sitting there watching them. They may be crying, they may just be celebrating. I didn't think my hair could do this. I've often looked at other women's hair and it's like, well, why can't mine do that? Why can't mine do that? And but it's also learning to love the hair that is on our head, but
mm,
using the right products with the right processes to get it to
to
where
get it
you
from
want it
it.
to be. And so
Mm,
that's that curl restoration coach aspect. And what I call the group is the curl restoration collab, because we're all collaborating in there, because we're all on different points along that
on the
path.
journey, yeah.
Yeah, on that journey. And then the second thing is ageless tresses. So I
Mm,
started working on developing a course. I started with this last year, and then I have been working through the content, making revisions to it, and then I've been offering free courses up to this point. So I've invited individuals into the group, encouraged people to sign up so that they could take the course, and then I get feedback.
feedback.
Okay, what do you think? Did you think that it was too much information? It was overwhelming? Do you need more detail? Um, did you feel that you got value from this content type of thing? And so, and right now I'm still doing free offerings of the course, but over the longer term, it will be a paid course, self-service, that they purchased a course, they're sent their credentials, and then they can move through the content at their leisure.
Right.
But at this point in time, I facilitate them live. So I'm moderating them live, stepping them through the content, whatever questions they have. And then also, depending on the questions, there may be some additional content I add in because clearly this is
Yeah, this
something
is
that
something
someone
that is
else,
needed.
yes,
Absolutely. I love
wanted
it. I
to.
love that model. Did you come about that model on your own, or did you have the help of a coach or something?
It was a mix. It was okay, if they're asking about this, then clearly this needs to be in the content, but it's also from a coaching perspective, asking a coach, what do you think? What
Right.
is this too much detail? You
Mm.
know, I am a detail person. I have a project management credential from
Ah,
a project management professional credential from the Project Management Institute. So,
nice.
there are these processes that are just natural to
To
me,
you,
but it
yeah.
could also wind up with potentially too much detail because I am also a detail person. And so I don't want to confuse, I don't want it to overwhelm. You want it to be that right balance of content so that
Right.
they can actually pull from it, and then download their checklist of the things
Mm.
that they're supposed to do based on what they're trying to accomplish with their hair.
Hmm. Mm. Talk about what's that, transferable skills. I love it.
Mhm.
Your story proves the truth and the fact that no knowledge is wasted. And I just
Right.
love it. I love it. So for listeners who might be facing their own battles, whether it is self-image as a woman, or health issues, or struggling and battling starting a business, what advice would you give them based on your own journey?
Wow. If you are considering launching a brand, launching a business, becoming an entrepreneur in any fashion, you must really be committed. It must really be something that you enjoy talking about day in and day out, and you're willing to put in the time
Mm,
because it is very time consuming. It can take hours out of your day, especially if you're working full time and then you're trying to do this now as a side hustle, but with the intention of growing it beyond there. So time management will be huge. And we, especially women, we juggle so many things and we're always taking care of everybody else first
except
and then ourselves last.
last.
And we really need to step out of that to make sure that, because if we're not recharging our own batteries, how can we keep helping everybody else? So we've got
Yeah.
to recharge. We've got to, take care of us. And so for me, being able to help someone, and when you're seeing them saying thank you, that does it for me. It's like, you know,
Mm,
this is what I'm here for.
mm,
I don't want to see the struggle. I don't want to see the frustration or feeling like I got to cover my hair with a hat, or hearing the only reason I wear wigs is because I don't know what to do with my hair. If I knew
mm,
what to do or knew how to do it, then I would take
Well
the wig
floated.
off. Yes. And so in careful, I'm not trying to change anyone who wants to wear weaves or wigs. Not trying to change
Right.
any of that. It's the individuals that want to have that focus on their natural hair. Those are the ladies that that are in my target population of who I'm trying to
Right.
help.
Right.
And and then the third thing would be hormones. As we're getting to this part in our life, our hormones are fluctuating in all different ways. Menopause, beyond menopause, they are fluctuating. And we talk very often about what that does to the body. Night sweats, brain fog, can't
Hot
remember anything.
flashes.
Hot flashes, yes. So we talk about those things, but we're not talking about what menopause and what hormonal changes do to the hair. And thinning is one of the top things at the list. Thinning,
Wow.
hair loss is right up there. And so it can be known as just aging hair. So just as things are happening inside of us, things are happening to our hair.
Outside as well.
And that is huge with my course, Ageless Tresses, getting them to understand, it's not something that you're thinking is this weird? Is this normal? But hair loss, hair thinning, and even a higher level of dryness is very, very common with hormonal changes. And so it's teaching about that and what are the ways that you can do to counteract that as best you can.
Right, right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Think one of my last or second to the last question would be if you could go back to the beginning of your journey, especially the business part of it, like because your experience is what led you here into this business, right? So if you go back to the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to yourself?
The advice that I would give to myself is to have established myself as a thought leader on hair care
Mm,
before bringing the products to market. So having
why?
been on social media, talking about hair care, getting that information out into the forefront before launching the brand. So I
Right.
launched first and then learned that I needed to become the thought leader
Thought
to be
leader.
seen as an expert. And it's like, okay, so I kind of, did that, kind of backwards. But and I knew that I had done all this research over the years and I had done the things to take care of my hair. So I had
Yes.
already done all those things, and I didn't realize that in this space, in this industry, you need to establish yourself as that
As a thought
authority before you bring the
leader.
products out. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love this one. This is so good. Listen, ladies, listen. What see, and that's the whole point of sharing. That's the whole
Hmm.
point of getting into a mind state of sharing your journey, right? It's not because you
Yes.
want to live out there. And that's why again you need to know the balance. Like you're not living your whole life on the internet, but if there is a challenge that you're currently going through and you're navigating and you're seeing results, it's okay to share that. Because
Hmm.
even if it doesn't lead into a business like it did for Angela, it would still position you as a person of authority in the field. And
Yes.
peradventure, if you wanted to then segue into business, it becomes very like, okay, she's been teaching us this all this while. Okay, now she has a product, she knows what she's talking about. Let's go get on it, right? So I
Yes.
love, 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 love. Ooh, this is good. I think this one is the best one for me so far. Oh my goodness. Okay, as we wrap up this session, what role has community and support played on your journey? Right? Look at it from all the angles: family, friends, and even in the business world when you started. What's the role of community, and what would you say to that on your journey?
Absolutely. I would say that have been supportive all the way and supportive in different ways
Mm.
because I have family and friends that have been buying my products from the beginning.
Oh
And
wow.
then I have friends and family who they may not use the products, but they're out there
They
every time they
recommend
meet
you.
someone at their work. Here's go to this website. This is my cousin, or I'll connect the two of you on social media. So they may not be buying the products, but they're magnifying, they're repeating
Right.
those messaging and bringing new people into the group. And
Hmm.
so you receive the help as it comes to you. Don't necessarily think they can only help you in one way. So I wouldn't want to think the only way they can support me is to buy my products. No, and that
Hmm.
is not. Yes, they can support you in a myriad of ways, and sometimes you may not even realize. But yes, they can support you in a myriad of ways,
Right.
and just be receiving of it. It may not come the way you had
You
hoped or what you
wanted.
had envisioned, but it still brings value. It still brings
Right.
value back to you and to back to what you're doing. So be
Right.
receptive to that. There may be some unsolicited advice. I've had some individuals tell me, well, you need to be in Target. You need to be in Target
Mm.
and see it because that's where they want to go buy all their hair care. And the reason why I'm not in Target, it comes down to money, really. And the average person doesn't understand that. They're thinking you put your products on the shelf in Target and then they're sold, and then you make money. Well, to enter a Target, there are fees that have to be paid.
Procedures.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about, not fixating on one way that you can get support. Because
mhm,
actually, like you said, and some people are actually supporting you, but you might not even know it because they're either
that's right.
talking to other people about you or
Mhm,
recommending them without even coming to you or without even showing you, like, because they don't use the product anyways. So you might think
right.
they're not your target, but they're still part of the chain and they're helping, the business go around. That's very important to know so that we then don't over fixate on one way or one expectation and be disappointed for no reason because you feel like, oh, you're not supporting me, but they might just be supporting you in other ways that they deem fit. And I think that's so fantastic. Thank you so much, Angela. It's been such a pleasure, speaking with you and having you share your story and all those beautiful nuggets that you've shared with us today. With your final words, what would you part with us with if there's somebody who's just like jumping in and just scanning through and just look at the last part? Like, what would your parting word be for them?
My parting word would be ensuring that what you are doing is something that you're passionate about because you're going to live it, breathe it, and eat it.
Mm,
So you're going to invest a lot of time in this. So it needs to be something that you're passionate about. And beauty, all things beauty, be it skincare, makeup, hair care, I have been all in it for years is my thing. And then also shoes and purses, if you want to add that in too. So it is something that I'm comfortable doing, enjoy doing. And this self-proclaimed expert at all things beauty for all the
mm,
years that I have been just enjoying it because
right.
you do need to enjoy it. You do need to enjoy it and then be able to convey that energy, through the screen of a phone, of a tablet, of a laptop, because you may not meet most of your customers. You probably won't meet most of your customers as
Right.
far as face to face. And so this environment is how that may be their introduction and may be the only way that they know you.
I love it. So only when you enjoy it and you're in it, you can pass on that vibration. Like, I love what
Mhm.
I do. And then they kind of catch it. Like, we love it too.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's been a pleasure again. I'm going to leave a link to your socials. I want to see all that you do. I want to see you speak. I want to look at your courses and things like that. So I'll leave all the links to Angela's expressions, her website, her social media handles, her courses. So if you want to go check those out, and especially if you want to jump on now and test with her to give her good feedback about her courses while she's putting it together before she places a price on it. Now is your time. Do not waste time, okay? Because very soon, it's gonna be out. And you're gonna have to part with some dollars. All right. So thank you so much. And thank you for the heart with which you do this. And like you said, do it passionately, do what you love. And we can see that in you that you're passionate about this, you love what you do. And that's how you're able to really affect lives without, having to put the money first, just giving off of all this amazing value to these beautiful women in your community. And I just want to wish you all the best on your journey as you continue to impact more lives. Thank you for coming on the Stretch Street podcast to share your stretch stories and to help us remember that we all go through these challenges in life, and how we relate with those challenges is what is different. And thank you for relating with yours and turning it into a solution for other people to enjoy. All right. Till I come your way again next week with another episode on the Stretch Street podcast, remember, you are not alone, okay? There is somebody out there going through something similar to what you're going through. So don't feel alone. Sometimes you just need to ask or share, and you would see that, oh my God, I experienced this as well. Oh, I experienced this as well. And then when you share and they share, then you begin to see, you compare notes, you compare stories, and you begin to gain strength to go through that challenge and come out on the other side a better person. I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.